Does that
see
make
that?
sense, Catherine?
Yep.
If you have a question, ask Ted, like, they're,
Okay.
Yeah, Catherine, don't let me blow by you here. If you don't ask, you won't know.
because believe me, if you don't know, somebody else in here doesn't know, so ask your questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's this again?
All right, this is your bearing here.
Okay.
Now, this is your, what is that? Read that. That's an angled 4x4 by half, about 9 inches long, stabilizing angle.
Okay.
That's another M-bit that has to fit in the wall.
Okay.
It's with 2 half-inch Simpson Strong Titan HD screw anchors. So we actually screw in the anchors in the wall. So that actually has to go in and out of the wall. So,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, you're welcome. Okay, so we know we've got to have embeds, steel embeds, and they're going to come from your steel supplier, right? So your project manager's got to have shop drawings. Shop drawings have to go into the shop. Shop has to make product, da. Okay, so we got embeds. So we get all these things in, and then we begin the wall. Now, if we break down our masonry work, you actually have several activities. Okay. Step number 1 on a masonry wall is to lay the block from foundation up to finished floor. Okay? It's not always that way. Sometimes you'll go up scaffold high, right? Okay? First activity. If you lay the finished floor, do you have to have the hollow metal doors there? Not yet. But when you go from finished floor to support elevation for your joist or beams or whatever it is, that's your second section of masonry that has to be done. And then you have your third section, which is going to be your parapets. What is a parapet? A parapet is anything that goes above the roof elevation, right? Okay? Now, once that is complete, you can then begin what? Steel erection. Okay? Steel erection starts. What can you be doing, though, at the same time you're laying the block walls? Okay. Could you be fine grading for slabs? Could you be installing underground? Very good, very good. Could you be installing underground? Yeah.
Electricians could be putting.
He could be putting his service in if there was enough wall there for him. So those are what we call parallel activities. So we got block laying going on, we got underground going on, we got electrical going on. Okay? So those parallel activities may not take as long as laying that wall, right? Plumber may take, let's just say for the sake of conversation, this block takes 15 working days. Okay? And the underground rough takes 5 days. How much, what they call float, is there in the underground activity? 10 days. Okay? You see? So, you have what's called early start and late start. Okay, so let's just use something simple. If I start block on 9/15, and I'm going to run block from 9:15 to 9:30, okay? And that is my critical path, okay? My early start and late start are exactly the same day, okay? I got to start that on time. Okay, that's a critical activity. Critical activities must start on time. My early finish and my late finish are exactly the same day. Okay, because it's on the critical path. This is late block, right? Everybody with me up to here? Is anybody not with me to here? Please let me know, because it's going to go a little faster. If you don't get it, let's get it. Okay? Did that sound like an accusation? I didn't mean for it to. Okay. Now, let's go down here to our underground. We said that's going to take 5 days. We call that underground. What's the earliest start I could do the underground? 9:15. Okay? The earliest finish I could have on my underground is what? 9:20. Okay? Now, my latest finish for the underground, and we're assuming we want the underground done before we start steel in our example here, okay? What's the latest finish I can have on underground?
9:30.
9:30. Okay, what's the latest start I can have on underground?
9:20.
9:25. Okay, so when you look at early start, late start, and you compare early start, late finish, and you look at that, you get what is called float on parallel activity. So how many days float do we have? 10 days. Okay. Are you obligated to allow the sub to use all your float?
No.
Hell no. Okay, no. But what that does do, the schedule will help you to understand what to focus on. What is most important as opposed to what is not quite as important. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
War story. Theater work, mezzanines, projectors are in the mezzanine. Invariably, there would be one masonry. We had a steel frame building. 95% of the building rested on columns. 5% of the building was load bearing. Okay? Tell me where those load bearing walls were. They were in the worst possible place to build a wall. Some of them were even walls on top of steel beams. Okay? Where you would put in a steel beam, then you lay a wall up to support the roof. Okay? That's what's called a trigger. Okay? Rule of life, beware of triggers. Okay? Your triggers on your jobs, identifying them early. Okay? You won't generally see a trigger in your schedule. Your project manager probably won't see the trigger. Look for things that are out of sequence. Okay? A masonry wall that's on top of steel. Okay? Or a masonry wall that supports a piece of steel in only one location. Okay? At current 4810 Publix, they got the elevator shaft and the stairwell and so forth. They got a couple of triggers in there. Okay? It looks like you can erect the whole frame and do the whole job. All of a sudden you find out, oh gosh, I got this one thing. The sprinkler riser room on the back of the Publix, big trigger. Okay? Nobody thinks about the sprinkler riser room. Okay? A little appendage on the back of the building. Steel erector comes in, you erect the thing, everybody's happy. Oops, sprinkler riser room. I got an 8 by 10 area that I can't get the roofer back. Look for your triggers. Sidebar. All right. So we talked a little bit about early start, early finish, late finish, parallel activities, and float. Okay? Are we good to there? All right. 5-minute break.
I'm understanding. I didn't mean to call you out. Let me turn this off.
No, it's fine.